Elon Musk announced the first implantation of a Neuralink chip in the human brain. Honda unveiled a new humanoid robot. The police in America were allowed to use killer robots. And scientists proved the possibility of traveling through the universe with a wormhole. These and other high-tech news for the week in today's one episode. Let's get started. Elon Musk quietly held an event dedicated to the updates of the Neuralink project. According to him, the technology has more than successfully shown itself on animals and is already fully ready for testing on humans. As soon as the company receives the appropriate regulatory approval, the chip will be implanted into the first human volunteer. According to Musk, this will happen within the next 6 months. The goal of Neuralink is to create a device that can be implanted in the brain and used to control computers with the power of thought. Last year, the company released a video showing a monkey playing ping pong on a computer in this way. Now, these test subjects have literally learned to talk by typing rehearsed phrases on the screen. For example, "Welcome to Show and Tell." Another video shows monkeys being trained to charge devices while sitting under a wireless charger. Later in the presentation, the Neuralink researchers showed a pig on a treadmill, which they said helped them study how to solve mobility problems in humans. The Neuralink device themselves are small with several flexible strands that connect the device to the brain. In about 15 minutes, 64 of these strands can be implanted in the brain using a robotic system that performs the operation as quickly and accurately as possible, taking into account the natural movement of the brain. Musk has promised to insert the chip himself in some time in the future, as well as to ensure that the device itself can be easily updated. "I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want an iPhone 1 in your head if an iPhone 14 was available," Musk recently said. San Francisco police have got the green light to use remote-controlled robots to kill suspects. The city's Board of Supervisors approved a controversial policy that allows police robots to be used as lethal force options when risk of death to the members of the public or officers is imminent and outweighs any other available force option. The department's robots can now be equipped with explosives to engage, incapacitate, or disorient an armed or dangerous suspect in extreme circumstances to save or prevent further loss of innocent life. The department currently owns 17 robots, 12 of which are operational. The machines can be roughly divided into two categories: large and medium-sized tracked robots used for remote exploration or explosive detonation, such as Romotech F6A and Kinetech Talon, and smaller robots designed to be dropped into target areas for reconnaissance and surveillance, such as the First Look and Recon Robotics Throwbot. All robots are designed primarily for human control and have limited autonomous functionality. Police departments in the US have already used remote control robots to kill suspects. The first incident is believed to have occurred in 2016 when Dallas police used a bomb disarming robot to kill a sniper who shot and killed 5 officers at a rally. At the time, some praised the action for quickly ending the hours-long standoff, while other citizens criticized it for actually allowing police to execute a suspect without exhausting alternatives. Proponents of the use of killer robots emphasize that it keeps ordinary citizens and police officers alive while avoiding bias such as skin color. Opponents argue that the practice is unacceptable because it involves targeted killing without trial. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Honda, which recently shut down its Asimo project, has unveiled its new development, the Avatar robot, which is a machine that's supposed to help people improve the quality of people's daily lives and expand their potential. According to the company's website, by offering the Avatar robot, Honda wants to create a society in which everyone, no matter how far away they are, who they are, where they are, can do whatever they want without having to be on the spot in person. The robot is equipped with humanoid arms and 5-fingered grips that people can intuitively control to use tools designed for humans. With a headset and haptic gloves, the robot operator can see, hear, and feel the objects the robot interacts with. This can allow the technician to perform operations, repair equipment, provide first aid, or work in disaster areas, including life-threatening areas, without the need for a physical presence. A demo version of the technology is due to be presented by the company in fiscal year 2023, and practical application is being considered in the 2030s. Researchers at INRIA in France have taught a humanoid robot, Talos, to use the nearest wall to avoid falling. The trick to this technique is how little time the robot has to realize it's about to fall. sense its surroundings, make an escape plan, and actually execute it in time without really falling. As soon as the robot detects that something in the leg has failed, its damage reflex or D reflex is triggered. The robot uses position and the position of the nearest wall as input. The system then derives in a few milliseconds the probability that potential contact with the wall will stabilize the robot. In doing so, the researchers had to make some adjustments to make sure the robot stops its arms as soon as it touches the wall, whether it's in the right place or not. In the end, the method worked very well using D reflex. The Talos robot was able to avoid falling in 3 out of 4 trials. Considering how expensive humanoid robots usually are, this is an excellent result. The main thing is to make sure it doesn't take something that could break under its weight as a support, for example, a human or even a pet. The Swiss technology giant ABB has officially opened and commissioned its largest and most fully automated robot factory in Shanghai, and this is the very plant where robots build robots. It will now become ABB's largest robotics research and development base in the world, as well as the production and application of robots. The $150 million 67,000 square meter gigafactory will cater mainly to the Asian market. And by the way, we've told you about the most robotic enterprises in the world, and you can see that episode right here in the link. Engineers from Sorbonne University have presented an unusual system for human empowerment. It can be used by both people with disabilities and workers performing tasks that require an extra helping hand. The hybrid system uses a headset and device that mimics a wearable robotic arm and augmented reality, as well as a real robotic arm that's controlled by such a virtual device. It turns out that a person in VR or AR sort of carries and controls the robotic arm, which does not hang on him with all his weight. Researchers at MIT's Center for Bits and Atoms have created an unusual assembly robot. They're composed of the same components used to create structures, and they can move independently in large quantities to create these structures. This brings the research closer to creating a fully autonomous, self-replicating robot assembly system capable of assembling larger structures and planning the sequence of the construction. The system developed includes large, useful structures made up of tiny, identical subunits called voxels, which are the volume equivalent of a 2D pixel. MIT voxels, meanwhile, can transfer both power and data from one device to another. The structure is assembled by robots, which also consist of a chain of voxels connected at the joint. Interestingly, the robot doesn't just decide how to build a structure, it can also decide to build more robots to help it build faster, or enlarge itself so it can move through the structure faster. These technologies can be especially useful in space travel, where they can be sent to other planets to build structures before the humans arrive. In the unconventional approach category this week, we want to mention the development of BioHome 3D, which, unlike its competitors, allows you to print houses out of wood. Let's not hide it. 3D printed houses made of mortar often look rather ugly or require some serious finishing to make it look normal. A new technology recently demonstrated in Maine, USA, prints houses from wood fibers and natural resins from the local timber industry. Also, this material is completely recyclable at the end of its useful life. BioHome 3D is the work of researchers from the University of Maine and Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Interestingly, the technology allows the entire house to be printed, including the floors and roof. And for this particular house, 4 models were created and then assembled on-site for half a day's work. What do you think of this development? Let us know in the comments. The moon is the next step for human presence in space. To create a habitat on the moon, existing resources will have to be gathered and used locally. The European Space Agency and European Space Resource Innovation Center recently announced this at the Space Resource Challenge competition, where they create innovative technologies for the future bases on the moon. As a part of the challenge, various teams of engineers have developed vehicles capable of exploring resources on a test bed that simulates the shaded polar regions of the moon. Prototype lunar rovers competed on the 1,800 square foot site, while the unannounced winner will have the opportunity to implement their technology and send it to our satellite. The European Commission has spent €387,000 on the development of a meta-world platform within the Global Gateway project and held there a gala, which was attended by 5 people. The event was organized by the Department of Foreign Aid of the European Commission in order to interest young people. One of the visitors was DevEx journalist Vince Chadwick, who wrote that he managed to exchange a few words with everyone who came, but soon became the only guest at the party. After logging in, users got an avatar and could join a beach party or walk around a tropical island with screens in various places, broadcasting stories about the EU cooperation. Unicon Group unveiled the first robot humanoid developed in Africa named Omafe in Nigeria. The creators say it's a multi-purpose robot assistant for those companies that work with indigenous African audiences. The robot can identify and tag people by their faces and expressions, calculate the position of people and objects in space using a camera, maintain eye contact, and communicate without using words and expressions that are not polite in African cultures. It's also reported that the robot is trainable, and most importantly, it remembers old conversations and can better understand new information based on what it's heard before. Omafi deeply understands African culture, but can also communicate in English, French, Arabic, and African languages such as Swahili, Pidgin, Wazobia, Afrikaans, and Igbo. During the presentation of the robot, it was also announced that the robot was designed to move over rough terrain, communicate using gestures, and handling objects, but it seems that these are all future functions and not current ones. The startup Gecko Robotics has signed a $1.5 million contract with the United States Air Force, and for that amount, the company will have to integrate concrete assessment technology into its fleet of crawling inspection robots. Gecko will combine hardware and software components to give its robots the ability to quickly evaluate concrete and steel linings on intercontinental ballistic missile launchers. The robots should help the Air Force, quote, in ensuring the safety and effectiveness of the nation's most important assets. Gecko Robotics technology is primarily designed for use in the energy, oil and gas, heavy, and defense industries. The startup is developing a whole series of TOCA robots, each specializing in inspecting labor of a particular diameter and type. Japan's NTT Data is introducing robots in all of its data centers across the country. Now the inspection and monitoring of data centers will be done remotely through the interface of Yugo Robot. The bot has already been tested and found to be successful. Yugo is equipped with a wheeled base supporting a torso with 2 arms and multiple sensors that include a 4K camera, thermal imaging camera, humidity, temperature, and airborne contaminant sensor, as well as a microphone. The robot examines meter readings, checks the operation of lamps, and detects the slightest change in appearance and odor in the room. The robot also keeps records of the inspections and makes incident reports. Robots for inspecting data centers are nothing new. Huawei and Alibaba are known to use their own robots for data centers in China, and South Korea's Naver reportedly plans to use robots on its Cloud Ring data center in Sejong City. In November, Fujitsu said it plans to test a private 5G network in a data center to enable automatic robot-assisted inspections of equipment, so inspections of data centers, and not just by robots, are becoming common practice all around the world. Scientists from Google, Harvard, Caltech, and Fermi Labs used Google's Sycamore quantum computer to prove the possibility of teleportation through wormholes. Theoretically possible space-time passages that Einstein suggested existed in his theory of relativity. Such wormholes could be black holes, but how do we study this phenomenon in actual practice? To find the answer, the researchers entangled 2 simplified SYK systems simulating the effects of quantum gravity, and then sent a quantum bit of information into one of them, after which it appeared at the output of the second. This proved not only the effect of quantum teleportation, but also the possibility of information passing through a wormhole. The relationship between quantum entanglement, space-time, and quantum gravity is an active area of theoretical research. We are happy to have taken a small step toward testing these ideas on a quantum hardware, and we will continue to do so, according to the lead researcher of the research group. In the category of the most interesting home robot concepts, we have today the WinkBot from the startup Argo Design. As simple as a table lamp, it's designed to make a human-robot interaction as simple, pleasant, and intuitive as communication between a dog and its owner. The robot will not repeat phrases to make sure it understands you, it just listens, winks, or nods to indicate understanding, and executes the command. Seems simple. Wink will wake up to your gaze and assumes a pose that intuitively invites conversation. This working principle has several advantages. First, Wink doesn't listen to a trigger word such as Siri, and it never starts eavesdropping until it makes eye contact. Second, Wink doesn't just see you, it can also trace the direction of your gaze to see what object you're talking about. For example, he can turn on not all the lights in the room, but exactly the light bulb you're looking at. This almost ingenious combination of anthropomorphism and simplicity gives the robot great promise, but the startup has yet to find an investor to make it a commercial product. What news seems to be the most interesting and important for the future of humanity to you? Let us know in the comments, and join our discussions over on Instagram. And while you're here, subscribe to the Pro Robot channel. Don't miss any new episodes, and we're preparing for some fiery new materials about artificial intelligence and quantum technology.